All right, so getting into shape. Just that phrase is enough to make you cringe. I know. Athletes, when you guys are talking about getting into shape, it's usually to get ready for an intermittent sport. Volleyball, basketball, baseball, soccer, all of these are intermittent sports because they require really short, intense bursts from you, and then you usually get a period of rest or a period of lower intensity. So, like the time in between football plays. And when you guys talk about getting into shape, you're usually saying you're doing long, slow distance runs to get in shape for these sports. We're going to talk about why that's a huge disservice to you, your time, and your training. And that's for two main reasons. Number one, if you're just running in a straight line for your training, you're neglecting all the other movement patterns that you need for your sport. So in all of these sports, you guys don't just run in a straight line. You cut and you shuffle and you backpedal and you turn and you run curvilinear sprints. You do all these different things. You should also be doing them in your training. Number two, something we're going to talk more about right now, is that you are neglecting the main energy systems that you use for intermittent sports. So energy systems. Your body takes the food that you eat and the energy that you have and converts it to usable energy in three main ways. Number one is the phosphagen or creatine phosphate or CP system. And this is for really high intensity efforts of less than 10 seconds in duration. So think like a 100-meter dash. Then you've got your glycolytic system, which is for sustained efforts of less than 3 minutes. So think intense, but a little bit longer than that short burst, like a 400-meter run and track. And then you've got your oxidative or aerobic system, and this is for sustained efforts of longer than 3 minutes. When you guys are doing long, slow distance runs, this is the system that you're using mostly, is your oxidative system. And these other two are just kind of running in the background. But these two systems are the ones that you want to be training. They're the ones that do the most work for you during these intermittent sports. So just to clarify, these three systems are not on-off switches in your body. It's never that one's working and only one's working and the other two are doing nothing. It's more like a continuum where they take over for each other depending on what you're doing. So in long, slow distance, this is your primary system. Like I said, these guys are just kind of running in the background. For intermittent sports, these are your primaries. These are the ones that we want to train, your CP and your glycolytic. So how do we do that? Tempo runs and interval training. Things that mimic your sport, where you run really hard for 10 seconds and then you might jog for 30 and then you take a break or you walk. That looks more like your sport, and so that trains the systems that you use in your sport. The other thing is, if you're doing tempo runs and interval training, you might throw in some shuttles and things like that. That's an opportunity to include the other movement patterns I was talking about. So maybe you run shuttles where all you do is shuffle, or maybe you run a shuttle where you sprint down and backpedal back. You can get creative with all of that stuff, but this training to get in shape for your sport, it should look more like your sport. So like I said, two main things. If you truly want to prepare yourselves for these sports, any intermittent sport, make sure that you're paying attention to the proper energy systems and make sure that you're paying attention to all the different movement patterns that you need to play. If you guys need help with what this should look like or more specific examples, please just let me know. I am always happy to help.